Michael Steiner is a part of a student exchange program studying in Germany for his senior year.
What would you say are some of the life lessons you've learned?
Say what you mean. Learning a new culture is something completely different. And when you kind of dig deeper into it, you gotta learn the culture for itself. So in the way of learning a new culture, you kind of impact on your own life. Do what you think is right, I guess, because not every situation is a right or wrong situation. Your situation may seem right in your eyes, but wrong in others' eyes, and stand up for what you say. So if someone disagrees with you, look for their answer, look for my answer, compare them, find maybe a middle point that you can agree on, and still try to stand your ground and to explain to them what your points way they can see it in your eyes too. Okay, so the first few weeks, you're really excited, everything is going great, everything is new, the landscape's new, you're completely lost, and it's a completely different feeling. And you get a little bit homesick because you don't see anyone, you don't really know anyone. And then you're like, okay, kind of wish I would like a little bit of normality, a little bit, just like a little. But in all, it's just like in the first month, you're excited about everything, everything's new. I mean, the first time that I ever got yelled at by my host mom, or like she talked in a deeper voice or told me something direct, I kind of got excited on the inside because I'm like, oh, she's yelling at me. This is the first time that I'm getting yelled at in Germany. Now, with that yelling, or that yelling I should say, it's more of a direct language, so it's a cultural difference. And it's something you gotta really understand. Now, in the first 3 months, you're kind of wondering why it's not like dying down, why is she still being mad or angry or stuff like this. And then after like the next from 3 to 6 months, you've got this really hard time trying to adjust to new culture. I mean, the culture can be anything from just, I should say direct language, because that was my hardest point. How people talk to you, how people just interact with each other. And then you kind of feel lost in your own little world because you've got your foundation, your defined foundation that you grew up with. Your parents taught you, your family and your culture taught you. You see things on the news, it's like treat others how you treat yourself. And although that implies in other countries, in other cultures, it may have a slightly different meaning. And then when that foundation starts to break apart because you feel like people just don't either respect you or they don't interact with you, they aren't nice with you. And of course, these are all metaphors that I'm using because it's just a new culture, you don't understand it yet. And after you get through that 6-month period, you finally open up your eyes and realize they aren't yelling at me, they aren't being mean to me, they're being themselves. This is completely different. You don't understand it completely. I mean, you were just thinking for the last 3 months that people are yelling at me because, I did something wrong, something different. And yet they're not yelling at you. They're talking to you in a different tone. And it's a little hard in the beginning when you kind of first realize it. But after you really start to get to know it and kind of understand the culture, it's like someone tells you something like, oh, your hair looks messy today. You're like, oh, I should probably fix that. Instead of thinking, oh, you're being mean, I barely know you. I mean, why are you saying this? So it's like that cultural difference that you try to pick up on. It sounds mean, it sounds terrible, but it's different. That's the hardest thing, is that it's different. It's not bad, it's good. It's good that they're telling you this. It's good that they're doing this. It's good that they're doing that. It's good that they're yelling at you because they're using a higher level tone to get through to you. because apparently just telling you, hey, make sure to wear your pajamas to bed versus sleeping in your clothes, they might yell or use a higher tone, because in the beginning, some people are kind of getting angry that you didn't listen the first 3 times that they told you, because it was like, oh, you should wear your clothes to bed, or you should wear your pajamas to bed and not your clothes. And they'll say it like briefly, where you have to pay attention. But if you don't pay attention, then you have to say, sorry, I didn't pay attention, and then they're fine. However, in the beginning, you're like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. I do this all the time. They're just trying to help you get along with who you are, what to do. Just this new culture that you got to get used to. And at some point, you got to stop fighting and say, I've got to learn it. I've got to do this. I mean, if I'm not going to, then it's going to be terrible. I'm just going to keep on going down and down and down. And then after you get and open up your eyes, you're like, it's not bad, it's good. It's really good that they're telling me this. It's fine that they're telling me this. I mean, it's normal. I mean, why wouldn't they tell me this? And go back home. Someone says, oh, your hair looks nice. I'm like, okay, thanks. I guess how AFS, my exchange program, looked at it. They look at it as like an iceberg, because underneath this big level is a whole new culture. And then on top is like the small things that you barely see, which are like the language, the food, how you dress. Underneath is like that whole big culture that no one really understands until they do this exchange. So I guess most people will just be looking at this little part and not this. Yeah.
I think it's so cool that you did this. You're such an inspiration. Love ya.
Love you too.